Today's video will be more of a teaching video on the process of us being restored back to God after we lost the authority and dominion that God gave us over earth. But the first thing we have to understand is what the word gospel means. When I say gospel, I'm not talking about gospel music or any other religious churchy term that comes to mind when you hear the word gospel. The word gospel is a kingdom language that announces a new king whenever he is enthroned. And that is good news, especially with a king like our king, a king that is coming to bring a kingdom that is for the poor and for the downcast and for the people who are hurting. That's who I'm looking for to be a part of my kingdom. That's who I'm offering my kingdom to. Like I talked about on my last video, earth at one point was perfect and holy and coexisted in the same place as heaven. But once we chose sin, the earth became imperfect and was not able to be in the same place as God. God is this holy and pure being. Like, you can't even really describe the glory of God. God cannot be associated with anything that is impure and that is unholy. So at that point, we became separated from God, and God's mission was to bring heaven back to earth once again. All right, so heaven. Heaven is an actual country that God reigns from. God brought down his rule from the spiritual country of heaven to this physical world of earth. So not only he's the king of heaven, but he is the king of earth. And I'll talk about that more in detail in another video. But for now, he created the physical world of earth for Adam and Eve to subdue and to colonize. And they only had one parameter, and that was to not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So why was this their only parameter for them to follow? Well, God had to give them free will. Without free will, there isn't love. They will be forced to do that. God doesn't want us to love him because we're forced to. That's why if we don't love him, it hurts him, but he accepts it because free will is more important than him forcing us to do something. God couldn't force them to live under his authority, his rule and reign. They had to do it by choice, and they ended up choosing to define what was good and what was evil for themselves. So when he said to go subdue the earth, we were to go and rule over the earth. We were never meant to rule over each other, and we see the effects of it now. It was only meant to be one government, and that was the kingdom, and God ruling over us with his reign and authority, with us willingly wanting to live under his rule. So Genesis 1:27 is one of the most important scriptures because by God saying that, it forced him to work in different ways to restore the order back on earth. And we'll talk about that more in the next video. So to my kings and queens, I invite you to the kingdom. Till next time.